Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break and talk about our sponsor for the month, TourScale. TourScale offers 3 different franchise models designed to work alongside your existing business. They are all manufactured right here in the US and include everything you need to launch your new business, including web, marketing, analytics, and data to automate your tour operations. Let's talk about the different options they offer. Trolley Pub is a 16-seat pedal-powered bike. Next is the Paddle Pub, a 26-passenger US Coast Guard COI cycle boat. And lastly, the Tiki Pub, which can be built for 6, 20, or 30 passengers.
Hit up my boy Kai at tourscale.com. That's KAI at tourscale.com, or give him a call at 888-753-7507 and ask for Kai, or hit me up in the DMs and I'll give you his personal phone number. And we can talk all about how I saw one of Kai's pedal pubs at Arrival, and I thought it was super cool. And when we got into the weeds a little bit, Kai kind of explained to me the differences between their product and some of their competitors' product, and why it was so important that this stuff was being sourced here locally. And I couldn't agree more. You'll also notice a lot of this stuff is called Pub, and which is 100% on brand with what I'm all about, getting your people out safely, and a model that promotes safety by having a captain or somebody driving the vehicle that you're in while you're having some drinks. And I couldn't be more on board with those ideas. So hit up Kai at TourScale and talk to him. Let him know Kevin sent you from the Awkward Water Sports guys, and maybe he'll kick me back like a kickback or something, which would be dope.
All right, guys, let's get back to the show.
All right, man. Guys, welcome to episode, 104, 105.
1 billion.
We're on episode
I don't even
1
know
billion
what,
of the
1 billion.
Awkward Water Sports guys. Greg, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Yeah, I'm excited for this show. I like talking about economy.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty pumped. The main reason I'm pumped about this show, because today we're getting joined by the original mixmaster himself, Steve Edwards from AAMP Agency, who looks like he's getting ready to drop it.
Those are the biggest headphones.
They are, guys. I'm sorry I didn't have my AirPods here. It's like the struggle bus is real. How are you guys?
Good.
Amazing, brother. How are you doing?
Living the dream. So today's show, we invited Steve Edwards from AAMP Agency to come on because Steve is in a position kind of like myself, where we talk to so many different tour operators all over the country, and it's pretty much been the same thing, aside from a few folks, but most people have said in the past, I would say like since March, it has been unusually slow. It hasn't been like last year. It hasn't been like the year before. It's been slow. So, we're going to sit here and break down what could be causing that and provide some advice on how to kind of weather it.
Well, first off, Steve, we've had a lot of discussions about this. What are you seeing out there? You're by large probably one of the largest tour and activity provider, marketing agency out there. So, you're from coast to coast, man, and all up in the middle. So softness, tell us about it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's been such unexpected year, and I don't know why it was unexpected. I think everybody had their head in the sand if they didn't expect some level of softness this year. It's impossible to think that with inflation at what it is and costs of, everything being what it is, interest rates being what they were, that people were not going to become, let's call it, price sensitive and or skittish on the purchase of extracurricular activities, right? And it's proven to be such an interesting dynamic out there because, to your point, we do have clients coast to coast. And, the one place where the costs of goods or the cost of service hasn't let up has been in like lodging. Lodging, it almost seems like made a decision that, hey, we're going to raise our prices in 2022. And we're going to just hold this price, and this price is going to be what this price is no matter what. And it's created such a weird trickle-down effect, in my opinion, of like, people only have X amount of dollars to spend when they go on a vacation or when they're plotting their trips out. There's a crazy number that goes around like Las Vegas that when people visit Las Vegas, they have $350 to $380 in ancillary money. Now, that could be money to go to a show. That could be money to go on an ATV tour. It's money for recreational activities. But what happens is if their cost of their hotel, which, 2 years ago was maybe $200, is now $350, and the cost of the drinks used to be $8 are now $12, and the cost of dinner, which was $15, is now $23 per person. Somewhere somebody has less money.
Yeah.
And it's a slippery slope. Like, where does it end? Well, it ends at us. It ends at the tour operator putting on the ATV tour or the jet ski rental or, the sunset dolphin sail. It trickles down.
Yeah. Greg sounded this alarm earlier, a few months ago. And I was like, while I was like to him, I was agreeing, like, behind the doors, I was like, fuck you, Greg, stop talking about lowering prices, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear that right now, dude. Like, I've built too much into 2023 to even think about lowering my prices. But unfortunately, and Steve and I have had a similar conversation, it is very much a race to the bottom. So, I mean, Steve, how do you in your opinion, how do you navigate that dynamic? I mean, how do you bring prices down when you are and everybody is listening to this show right now, possibly because of this show a little bit, are still I know operators are in massive growth right now and not seeing the revenue dollars.
Yeah, so how do you say this? Like, everybody came out of 21, 22, like, this ramp up is never going to end and we're all going to go to the moon and we'll all just be rich. And what's happened is that's just not the case. The pullback is real. And the problem is nobody's expenses look like they did in 2019. Outdoor activities grew so fast that everybody raised the amount of boats they have and the amount of equipment that they have and the staff that they have. And their overhead has, I don't want to say doubled, but their overhead has ballooned. So now the idea of going back to, like, let's call normal numbers, right? Whatever the hell that actually means, like whatever a normal number is of 2019 or, 2020 doesn't seem real. And that's kind of what's happening. So the race to the bottom is such a scary place to be because nobody wants to think about holding steady, right? Like, everything is always growth minded, where some days you've just got to be able to bear down and take a shitty day, take a shitty 6 months. I know it's not everybody's answer, but it's about the long game. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And to some degree, you got to back out of the sprint mentality.
Are you tired of spending countless hours managing your water sport and boat rental reservations manually? Is your current system outdated or doesn't provide the necessary features that your business requires? Hi, I'm Greg Fisher, the CEO of WaveRes, an online reservation software built by operators for operators. With our system, you can offer 24/7 online booking to your customers, allowing them to book and pay for their rentals at their convenience. You can also send SMS notifications to your customers, keeping them updated on their reservation status and any changes that may occur. Custom options and dynamic pricing enable you to offer tailored packages to your customers, helping you stand out from your competitor. Plus, our system integrates with companies like Werewolf Digital Waivers and TripShock, streamlining your operations and ensuring a seamless booking experience for your customers. Our software is the best choice for water sport and boat tour operators, as it is designed to cater specifically to your needs. So why waste any more time on manual reservation management? Try WaveRes today and take your business to the next level. For a limited time, mention this ad and receive a $100 credit when you sign up. Check out waveres.com for more info or to schedule a free demo. Now let's get back to the show. Steve, let's kind of drill down, because I think there's a lot to unpack in this conversation, especially going to like household income, age demographics. When I first started realizing that, wait, something's off here, because we're doing everything we've done, everything we know how to do. Look, I would say at TripShock, I have a really good and smart marketing team, and we just weren't seeing the conversion. I really started diving into Google Analytics does give some degree of age and demographics and whatnot. It's not perfect, but if you do a lot of traffic like we do, then we can get a better sample size. So when we compared age demographics, it was very illuminating So 55 and up, there was zero change. In fact, we had more people on the site that were 55 and up than we did previous year at that same time comparatively. Where we saw the drop off, and I'm talking a substantial drop off, 30%, is 25 to 34. And then you go even earlier, like 18 or younger, 18 to 24, there was very little change in 18 to 24 because they're supported by their parents, college. They're not affected by the economy. Everyone else is, but that 25 to 34 was like boom, like that's where, and then if you really break it down, 25 to 30, this is a very volatile time. You think about when we were that age, we were getting our first home, we were starting our businesses, we were getting our first job, we had young kids, we were saving money. Like interest rates would affect that age demo significantly.
I got to jump in here, man, because I think there's a little overlap in those two demographics. And I think there's an assertion being made that, you know, these 25, 26, and 27-year-olds aren't still at home being supported by their parents. And now that the slow drip of the free stuff economy that we have, you know, been bailed out into hell and back is now it's like, yeah, guess what? The government's coming for all of the free money that you got. No kidding, man. Big shocker why inflation's going through the roof. You know, because some of this stuff speaks to productivity, right? And when you see record low unemployment numbers, but still a surplus in the job market, it's sort of like, I hate to put on my old man hat here, but it's like, well, yeah, man, like there's still a lot of jobs being unfulfilled. There's still record low unemployment, which is about to start changing. And it's like, yeah, there's no money in the economy because we're not artificially injecting it. No
I mean,
shit.
when was the last time either of you guys went out to lunch? I mean, Subway used to sell subs for $5, and they definitely do not have a sub on their menu for $5 anymore.
Back in my day, people went to work and a Subway sub cost $5.
Yeah, it is. I feel so old manish because it's like, God, why is everything so goddamn much money?
When I took my family to Orlando, we stopped in Tallahassee. We went to a Panera Bread, and we haven't been there in a while. $80 for four, 2 adults and 2 kids. We got a couple cookies. We all got drinks. I was like, I went up there and said, $80? I could go to a sit-down restaurant for $80, and they're like,
we knew this. We knew this, that the supply chain was going to free up and everything was going to stay the same, except for wages. And now you have this constituency, and you have, look, I hate to bring it into politics, but I'm going to. Like, we knew this was going to happen, man. Like, you knew this was going to happen. You knew wages were going to stagnate, and we knew prices were going to continue to rise. Because of this growth mindset, there are still people that are growing. There are still people that are paying the absurd cost for goods and services to grow their businesses. And the available supply of consumers is dwindling because, again, you don't have this artificial injection of money and all of this. And guess what? It's going to be time to cinch up the belt straps and start making hard decisions. And those of you guys that have been out there that want, $19 and $20 an hour to, do these entry level positions are going to have, because the job market is going to tighten up. The availability of jobs is going to tighten up. And guess what? You're not going to get $20 an hour to flip a hamburger. The economy, thank God, does not work that way. Because if it did, inflation would continue to rise. We would still see everything happening the way it is. And you know what I mean? Like, I hate to say this, but you're looking at a much different economy. When you look at sort of other economies and how they work, like we are the I hate to do this USA like chess, but like we're, America's a very, very unique experiment. America is one of the only places in the world that you have the thriving middle class that you have.
Yeah, I wonder if it doesn't quasi get worse before it gets better. I mean, I don't think we've seen as bad as it gets, and I know nobody wants to hear that. Everybody's like, oh man, everybody's kind of sitting here hoping. Well, so, and I will preface, because obviously this podcast does have a strong Florida listener base, right? One thing I will say is that it seems like everybody was off to the races a lot sooner this year than in years past as well. So what I mean by that is I think everybody, your guys' weather cooperated really early for you guys in like February, and it made everybody get this like weird inkling of like, hey, you know, in the past we maybe started mid-March, end of March. Why don't we get everything up and rolling in February? And everybody saw some bookings in February, and then it was spring break-ish in March, but your weather was kind of trash, so spring break really wasn't what it was supposed to be. And then April has been dog shit. And we're at that weird lull period where everybody's like, where's our customers? Where's our customers? Well, people are still in school. They're not even on vacation yet. We're literally probably 10 days out until we start seeing some of that summer vacation crowd. But I think everybody was so far ahead this year that they expected to knock it out of the park. And March, which would have generally been a good month because of spring break, when it's rainy and crappy, you're not going to rent boats. You're not going to be out on jet skis. You're not going to have customers. It becomes a very shitty slope.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break to talk about the Water Sports Forum, which is now being rebranded as the Port at Arrival.
That's right, Kevin. We're going to be doing our third annual water sport and boat tour operator forum, now called the Port, from October 9th to the 12th. So let's break it down real fast. The first day, October 9th, is the full day event where we'll bring in speakers, host panels, do roundtable sessions. If you went to the year previous, you kind of understand the format. The rest of the week, we'll be partnering with the Unravel conference to bring you supplemental programming in our special VIP room called Captain's Cove.
Listen, I want you guys to hear me loud and clear. If you guys are listening to this show, if you guys have ever come to one of our conferences before and you thought that was great, this is going to be jam-packed with value. Now, I want to tell you one last thing. Somebody, a very smart investor, once told me that you bet on the jockey, not on the pony. So I'm asking you guys to bet on this conference, on Greg and myself, on Doug and Bruce at Arrival, and know that the amount of value that you are going to extract from both of these conferences are going to be an incredible return on that investment.
So let's talk pricing. A one-day ticket for the forum will run $199. This also includes lunch and our after-hours event. If you decide to stay for the Arrival conference, you can purchase a combo ticket, which gives you a 15% discount on both events. Because the pricing goes up each month leading up to the event, and this commercial doesn't change, please head to the watersportpodcast.com and click on 2023 conference. Again, watersportpodcast.com, click on the 2023 conference link in the menu, and then you can view the current pricing for the combo package and the Arrival ticket. You'll also find info on lodging and programming. This year we're going to be having at the Rosen Shingle Creek, which is an awesome resort.
Special guest speakers. We're going to have a lineup that is going to knock your socks off. We're going to be covering everything from assets, finance, marketing, operations. Like, this is the one and done mastermind. And I don't know when we're going to be able to do something this comprehensive again. And guarantee you, if we do, we'll be bringing the same value in a smaller group for 10 times the amount of money, because it really is that valuable.
Be sure to get your tickets early because you only have 125 seats. Again, watersportpodcast.com, go to 2023 conference, and from there you can purchase your tickets, you can purchase your combo tickets, you can purchase your lodging. Everything you need to know about the conference is on that page. If you have any questions, just reach out to Kevin or myself, go to our Facebook group, hit us up. We'd be happy to answer anything you need, and we'll see you there. Let's get back to the show. Yeah, typically after interest rates get risen, if you look at 2008, when they raised interest rates up to, close to 6%, a recession followed for the next year. People have been saying this we said it at the Water Sport Forum last year, this is going to happen. After the interest rates go up, you see banks start shutting down. We're going to see some really shitty earning reports come out. See, my financial advisor, I have a bunch of cash just waiting to be invested. We cashed out of stocks end of last year. They're making me wait. They're like, wait, there's going to be a lot more bad news coming because we have not seen the repercussions of all of the spending that's slowing down. you're not going to see it for another 3-4 months. And then once those shitty earning reports come out, then we're going to really start to see things tumble. I mean, that's just history repeating itself.
And as we alluded to on I think our second false start of this podcast, we're not even jumping into the irresponsibility of the same type of handouts in the corporate culture that the consumer economy was doing, right? Now you have the same jackasses out there that took all this free money, man, that took all this idle money, all this PPP money, all of this ERTC money, and you think, hey, man, no one's coming for it? You're dead. You are dead wrong, man. You are dead wrong. Like, and to this point, people that not even coming for it, but the fact that people took millions of dollars in idle money. And look, I was one of them. I wasn't one of them. I tried to go for it, but there was a hiccup in our taxes. We couldn't get it. So I'm very thankful they didn't give me $1 million or $2 million. The reality of it is, knowing me, I would have just sat on it like a lump on a log anyway and been like, I've got all this, I've got $2 million. Like, what have you done? Nothing. I'm just paying interest on it, just sitting on, waiting for the right moment. And now think about that for a second. Everybody that took all this money and didn't wait for the right moment, right? So you took this money at a great rate, fantastic, and then you went out and bought a bunch of shit. Now, regardless of whether or not you look at it however you want to look at it, okay? You can say that you invested in your business, and then when that money was coming back in your business that you're not sitting on, we're going to see some highly, highly leveraged, over-leveraged people that are like, man, like, what did I do? Buying real estate at those ridiculous prices that they were at even 6 months ago. Buying all of these like ideas, you know what I mean? Oh man, I'm going to spin up this whole new thing. And now we're in a soft market, right? Like this goes to like a Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett thought process. And it's like, yeah, I do sit on cash and I do hoard money because I am waiting for I am waiting for the right time to buy it. And even to this point, like I did have to take some pricey loans at the moment to grow the current things that I know that can sustain this growth. Not things that I can throw a noodle at a wall and see if it sticks ideas, because those take time to generate, right? These ideas and these things are very much new businesses, regardless of whether you think they are or not. If you have a boat business and you have a jet ski business and you have a kayak business and you have a sunset cruise business, guys, we're cannibalizing our own shit at this moment, because as Steve mentioned, you are competing with the market. You're competing with the $25 drink. You're competing with the $350 hotel room, and you're very much competing with your own products, man. It's not just growth all the way around. So all of these new things, you want to buy a helicopter and start a helicopter tour, or a Jeep business because you think, hey, this is a great add-on. Well, it is, but that Jeep that I have and my boat are competing against one another for available and limited resources. So this is a very difficult prospect.
I've seen very little companies lower their prices this year, even though they're really slow. You know, Kevin, I mean, you've been on top of your stuff, watching it. There's a couple other businesses that I would say the water sport companies, aside from the boat tours, they're being a little more aggressive on moving their prices to where they're getting conversion. But I've seen a lot of companies that just will not budge. And they're just like, this is kind of like what Steve said in the beginning with the hotels. Like, this is what our pricing is now. We're just going to roll. We're going to roll with it. You know, it's
people get Steve, romantic on their price. Oh.
I got a question for you real quick, bud. So we've expressed a lot of pain. What is your, we might have same different answers to this, and Greg, I'll put it to you as well. But so what can we do right now? I mean, I know you're getting this question every single day, but what are you telling people?
So to Greg's point here a second ago, I mean, I think one of the problems is people are way too romantic about their price, and they get way too like hold price. Cash flow keeps businesses open, not holding price. So if you have a bunch of equipment that is sitting and growing mold on your docks or in your yard, it might be time to look at your pricing. You might need to go do an audit of your competitors' pricing and make sure that you are in the game. Myself included. I came into work today. I've got a bunch of Jeeps sitting in the back, and I'm like, it's looks like we've got to adjust our price again because these Jeeps are sitting here growing mold, right? I think that's a big piece of it. I think you've got to adjust pricing to make sure you're at least being competitive. And that doesn't even mean that the pricing is right. Your competitors could be wrong. You've got to start comparing yourself apples to apples against who you're competing with. And if you're getting beat out by the guy down the block, why are you getting beat out by the guy down the block?
Because his name's Kevin O'Neill. Greg, I mean, I know what Greg's solution is going to be. Throw more money at Google Ads.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say not to do. So, for whatever reason, that's what everybody's doing.
Chasing bad money.
They're chasing. So here's the thing. When you advertise aggressively, when there's nobody buying, you're just causing the entire market to pay more, including yourself. And that is exactly what is happening right now, is that everybody's like, wait, I have 10 boats at the dock. I'm not going to change my price. I'm just going to advertise and turn up the bids on Google and Facebook and just and get as much traffic as I can, because that's going to be the solution. No, that doesn't work. And when you look at your margins at the end of the month, you're going to be really disappointed. I don't play that game. Like I will set a max, and I'm like, this is how much I'm going to spend right now because there is no demand. It doesn't make sense. Now, people are looking. There's no doubt. I'm getting traffic to the site. People are looking. It's not your fault that they're not booking. People are planning right now. I mean, summer is just a few weeks away. They're planning. They're trying to figure things out. But, people are going to come back to Google several times. So if you miss out on that click in a bad time when no one's booking, then don't sweat it. So that's the problem that's happening now. Like I agree with a lot of things Steve's saying. I mean, there's companies that I've seen lower their price, even just 15, 20%, and I see conversion like immediately, like a difference. Comparing, I mean, you can go to the websites.
Somebody asked me what my solution is. Anybody ask me. I'm going to quote the great Alec Baldwin from Glengarry Glen Ross. Fuck you. That's my solution. Fuck you if you're asleep at the wheel. And I'm sorry, man, but I see this shit on a daily basis. Call me. If you know me and you're not in my market, my direct competitor, fuck you. That's what I'm going to do. Because you know what, man? I'm in here every single day, looking at my budget, looking at my numbers, looking at my marketing, looking at my operations, talking to my employees. Look, man, I get it. And I'm the first one to say delegate. But, man, delegate with some precision here, man. If you are not willing to experience the pain of learning and understanding some shit and calling up Steve or Greg and wondering why they're not doing your fucking job for you, you are in the wrong business. And I don't care if that business is selling pizzas or toothpicks or cars. If you are not aggressively learning, aggressively moving, knowing when to be nimble, knowing when to stand still, because you are in the weeds on your business, I'm not giving away that key to the kingdom, man. But I know what I do, and I know what we're doing. And when something's not working, I'm not just like, hey, help me. You know what I mean? Look, your jet skis, your boats, you're not putting diesel in them, you're not putting the wrong oil inside of your engines. And it's like, this is where we stop sometimes, man. I don't want to know about hiring. I don't want to know about percentages. I don't want to know about marketing. I don't want to have a meeting. Well, man, it sounds like you are in the wrong business, and it sounds like you are maybe not in the business of being in business. And I hate to sound harsh, but it's like, yo, man, like the two guys that I am sitting with, I work with them and I deal with them and I pay them money because they are smart. But at the same point in time, how did they get smart? They did the work. they learned, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to hold your marketing hands team through this shit, or your ops team or anything else, man, because you've got to be there when the shit gets tight. You got to get off your ass and get in the weeds, man. That's my solution.
And when you Kevin says the weeds, I mean, you really got to look at all areas of your business. Like right now, I am preparing to do somewhere in the ballpark of 20 to 25% less than last year. Like that's kind of where the trend is. So if that's the case, then I can't hire, the fancy new marketing person that I wanted this year. I'm going to have to look at my ad spend. Got the bow tie. I'm going to look at all of my contracts, with my vendors and software providers. I'm trying to find where I can cut out that much so I can maintain my margins. I'm working with my partners to see what advice can I give them to maybe help both of our cases, them get more bookings and me get more commission. So you got to get in the weeds. You can't just sit there and say, oh, I'm going to just turn up Google, keep my price the same. You got to really get in there if you want to make it worthwhile. And I don't know, Steve, if you can say my traffic has not changed a lot year over year. It's that people are not booking.
Conversion rates dropped.
Yeah.
It's the most frustrating thing ever because, to your point about like chasing Google spend, and it's like, you would not believe how many people are like, should we spend more? Should we turn up our ads? Last year we spent more. And it's like, yeah, but we're maxing out like Auction Insights. We're at the top of Google. Like our percentage of like share is amazing. It's just not booking. It's just not converting. So it's either price or it's offer, and those are the same shit anyways, right? Like you think about what you're selling. People are looking for what your product is. They're just looking for the cheapest version of it.
Yeah. I mean, we even have super cheap product offerings in Destin for like boat tours. We have one tour that does it for $20. That's as cheap as we have. Most are around $30. And I'm still not getting the conversion rate on that campaign like I have in the past. So you got to think too, like a lot of people are they don't have a lot of money like they had previous years. They are like, and I've noticed that when I'm trying to save money, I'm searching more and I'm clicking more. So, people are trying to save, they're clicking on all these different ads, and so they're increasing everyone's cost because they're hunting down the deals.
And listen, man, it's like, and I'm harsh on this because I see my Google Ads budget and I know what some of you guys out there are doing. And the reality of it is you're not bringing more business through the door. Look, you got 5 boats going out that day. The only thing you're doing is raising the cost on yourself to get those same 5 boats. So instead of giving Google $100 to bring in 5 boats, you're bringing Google $200 to bring in 5 boats or 5.5 boats or whatever it is. And you're not jacking anything from me, man, because I'm paying attention. And to this point, I was the first one. This year I came out of the gate swinging hard, man. You know what Steve told me? Reduce that budget, dude. It's not doing anything. You're just wasting money. You're just spending money. It's a waste. And I listened to him, man. I'm like, all right, reduce the budget. Now, that's not to say that we haven't incrementally increased that budget and starting to get creative on different things. And to these guys' point, get creative on our offerings, get creative on where we're offering it. And, not just burning money through Google just to burn money through Google. And it's like some of the horror stories I hear out there and the requests that people ask of Greg and Steve and Merica or Dustin or TripAdvisor or whatever it is. It's just you think that throwing money at this is going to solve it, and it's not. Like I'm going right back to the same thing I said earlier. It's like, yeah, man, you've got to sit down with your marketing team and, I'm gassed. Maybe you'll learn a little something about marketing yourself and start to, hey man, it sucks. I know we've all done digital marketing, but what does your phone sales look like? What does your relationship with the business next door look like? What does the relationship look like with your commerce? Where can you sort of start to sweep in those corners, so to speak, to start figuring out how you can move your products like before the days of Google? You know what I mean? And it's only going to get even more difficult, guys. Like, bad news. But as the technology grows, you're going to be the same AAA water sports in the yellow pages, giving those fucking guys $15,000 a page, while creative marketers and creative minds are going to be working in new, less exploratory areas of how they can get customers. And this doesn't matter if you're going forward or backwards. As I said, knocking on your business door and let them know who you are, working inside of ChatGPT or AI and learning how some of this stuff works. But you have to be the one to do it. You have to get creative on it, because Greg wouldn't even be sitting here. Greg wouldn't have the available supply that he has and the numbers running through TripShock that he does if he didn't start doing that 15 years ago. And we're at that
some
forefront.
of this is, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Some of this is
where a lot of these guys, or where I feel like the disconnect is that a lot of operators I know are the same. Like, and what I mean by the same is it's like the same age demo. It's the same guy. It's just rinse and repeat. And it's, it's a lot of us same guys sitting around running these boat businesses. And the problem is like earlier, Greg, you brought up like what your analytics looks like, right? Who's missing in your analytics that you used to see in your analytics? Where, I don't want to give it away, but I want you guys to think for yourself. Where is that customer now? That customer is not in Google. They're not living in Google searching for boat rentals or jet ski rentals.
Don't tell
go
them.
Ask your
Don't
go ask
call,
your kid
call
where
Steve
they're
at
at.
AAMP Agency.
Yeah, call me. I'll tell you where they're at. I'll tell you where they're at.
And to this point, it's time to get competitive, man. Like, that's where we're at. Why do you think I'm a little bit tight-lipped on what I'm doing? You know what I mean? And I'm feeling pain too, but definitely not as much pain as some of my competitors, dude. I'm not seeing a 30 and 40% drop in my business and stuff like that, like some of these guys are seeing. And look, like it's to this whole point, right? Like it's like it's time to get competitive. I'm not playing dirty pool, but I'm also like, you guys listened, you did great, you're doing what we told you, and now I hope you do what you tell you again, because you're paying through the nose to acquire a customer, and I can tell you that I am not. So
yeah. So
time to get smart.
I got a question for Steve, but what some of the things we've talked about today is that you might do everything right this year, and you might do the same amount of money you did last year, maybe you do a little bit less, but expect for the worst and hope for the best. But if that's the model you take, and that's pretty much what I'm taking, look inside your business and see how much you can cut. And we've done that, and we found a ton of shit that we were able to cut, because you might not get the numbers from a sales standpoint. Like we actually are 6% ahead of our budget this year, and we made our budget in October, so we weren't even really prepared for how bad it. We're 6% ahead because we did a damn good job with pivoting, knowing that things are slow. We had some staff leave us, which kind of helped our payroll out, but we did a great job. And so a question for you, Steve. So, people are like, okay, you're telling that we should advertise when the conversion rate is dead like it is now. But when is the right time to start increasing those numbers, and when would you know?
So we're watching this like a hawk. I mean, I've spent more time staring at Google Ads in the last 3 weeks of my life than I would probably in the last 2 years, just because, when it like works, you can scale it and life is easy. When it doesn't work, you start analyzing every portion of it and trying to figure out why it isn't working. You scale it. So I think before you can scale it, you have to understand where things are broken, right? And Google Ads and any advertising to me is just a giant game of testing. You can't spend money unless you know it's going to convert. That doesn't mean if, last year you were spending $1,000 a day, maybe this year you need to start at a much lower number and make sure it's converting and scale into it versus just turning it on like a water hose and hoping it converts. I love the point where Kevin brought up like over the phone. You would not like, if there's anything that infuriates me more is when my phone blows up when people are like, hey, we're down. Like, what do we do, Steve? What do we do? How do we make this work? Where's our bookings? And then you go back and listen to their phone calls and they're not selling. They're barely order taking. They're barely answering customer questions, and their staff is in such a hurry to get that customer off the phone. I mean, you paid for that customer to call you. You paid for them to pick up the phone. So it becomes one of those things. You talk about cutting costs. Look at your staff. you probably have one extra person working right now that would save you X amount of dollars a day if you sent them home or if they just weren't working. And I recognize everybody loves their staff and it's the greatest staff. I mean, we all want to live to play another day. I think you've got to look at your costs and figure out where your costs and where your bloat is. You also got to make sure that you're selling in all avenues. And some of this is the old school stuff. You need to make sure you're answering your phones. You need to make sure that your signage looks decent and that people are finding you and that your shit doesn't look dingy and that you're taking care of your reviews. Fuck, of all the things, take care of your goddamn reviews. People are making a buying decision, and with all things being created equal, if the guy down the road has a much better reviews than you, you're going to have to be lower priced to justify why they should book with you. You can't command a better price if the guy down the road has better reviews and is priced at the same. It's a war. This is war. And, or you just bear down and you ride this shit out.
So Steve, going back to the ad, so when do you think that the best opportunity is to start making those adjustments?
If you're working with an agency, they should be advising you along the way. We're watching this budget, and we're knowledgeable in the idea of like when we start seeing conversions, we're scaling that budget up to make it make sense. But I'm also as reactionary on the other side that if I see your stuff is pulling back, my job is to not just make you money, it's to preserve your capital. And it would be very easy to turn your Google ons and say, hey, we hope we have a good year. We'll talk to you in August. But that's a shitty marketer. We're watching this stuff every single day. I'm having way more conversations about this than I ever had in the past. And we're watching to make sure that you're not just lighting your money on fire out in a dumpster. And if you're not working with an agency, the first thing you should be doing before you're rolling out of bed is you should be looking at that Google Ads app and making sure your stuff lines up and that your conversions lined up and you are at a positive ROI. This is a number I tell everybody, and I think it shocks them a little bit. If you're not getting 5x or better out of your Google Ads, why even run the ads? You might as well at that point just get all of your bookings from TripShock or Viator or any of these other OTAs. Because if you're getting a 3x return on your ad spend, you might as well just feed all of your business to OTAs. They're doing a better job for you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And as our resident fancy marketer, Steve, I would just like to say that if you shaved out just the black, you would have the most amazing, like S-shaped curly Q hipster mustache combo. Fred Durst goatee that these guys that are listening to Mumford and Sons would just cream in their pants over.
That's what I'm gonna do. Please, if this doesn't work out,
bow tie and suspenders.
If this doesn't work out, that's the direction I'm going. Is Mumford and Sons. I'm going to start a hippie folk band.
That thing is just like perfect, man. Like I swear to God, I saw you not even 2 months ago, and that thing is like more gray in it due to Google Ads management. I'm presuming, man. So, well, man,
I hate always being like the negative. I hate always being the negative Norberto, because I certainly do not try to come on these things and be like doom and gloom, right? I'll say in the last week, there's been a little bit of like, let's call it light at the end of the tunnel. And it seems like stuff is working better in the last couple of days, maybe week. I don't want to claim a victory lap by any means, but revenue sure makes everybody feel a lot more warm and fuzzy, right? I think it's just a matter of being pragmatic about your business. Like, if you're so disconnected and you're just looking for it to be solved for you, you're going to have a bad year.
Yeah, and I like what you said, Steve.
Yeah, do your thing.
Real quick, yeah, I like what you said,
don't
Steve.
Allow me to stop the fucking show.
Well, I just want to say
keep on rambling on.
He makes a good point about preserving your capital, because the March through like mid-May is a way to blow all of it before you get to summer, when that's when the demand is so high. I mean, your conversion rates are going to be twice as much. But I made the mistake in, like, I think 2006, 2017, I went like balls to the wall and went really heavy in early May, late April, and spent like thousands of dollars, realizing that was a horrible move. I didn't even make any money in May, huge loss. And I'm like, man, if I would have applied that to the summer, when there's everyone that clicks, they're booking. I mean, it's like you can't, things go so fast, you can't even catch up with it. But yeah, preserving your capital for when it really counts, which is going to be in the next few weeks. But that's all I had to say. It was a good point.
I'll tell you, I'm really happy that the next guest that we have on this show coming up after Steve is rapper, entrepreneur, clear kayak extraordinaire, Justin Buzzy. When we get off this one, he's going to make me feel all warm and fuzzy. Because I bet you he's just going to have nothing but like great things to say. He's going to be like big smiles, all excited. He's like, no, everything's great. What are you talking about? Preserve your cap.
Buzzy's going to come in. Sales are up 180%. Best year ever.
Fucking 40 under 40. I'm like, God damn this fucking.
I'm going to pre-say it before he gets on here. Fuck you, Buzzy, and your fucking ultra success. You fucking full head of hair having son of a bitch. Fucking.
He's just waiting in the wings right now to be all positive and happy, and all of us old guys are just like, hey, man.
Why so glum, guys? Get out of here.
He jumps in his R8 and drives away, fucking all young and no kids and shit. Well, man, Steve, I really appreciate you taking some time to come out, man. I can't tell you how excited I am. I'll be in Vegas next week. Me and Steve doing our raving and and hanging out. You got to check out the group. I'll post some fun pictures of us, man. Steve, how can our listeners get a hold of you for marketing advice, demanding that you make their Google acquisitions that much cheaper and try to pay you nothing a month in the interim? # you're about to get an email from me, by the way. It's on my pending task.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for go check out our website. Go to amp.agency. All sorts of case studies and beautiful websites and digital marketing. And you're not just buying me. I've got a pretty amazing team behind me. We keep growing. I think we're just crossed 40 team members. So, I mean, this is like no longer a fun mom and pop little business. It's actually real deal stuff. So we look forward to it. Send it over. We love. And if you're in Destin, please, that's where I'm looking for more clients. Is if I could find 10 or 20 more clients in the Destin market, that would be ideal, because that seems to be a market we're unsaturated in. So
yeah, no shit, man. Leave my marketing and my best friend alone. He's all mine. All right, guys. As always, keep it awkward.